Hello everyone and welcome to Sewing Saturdays. My name is Gina and today I'm going to be showing how to do this double makeup bag. So what I have here is, as you see, it's like a double bag together, so it closes like that, and I have in here is two makeup bags. I have one here. There's a couple slots that you can put makeup brushes. That's optional, that you can do that or not. And then you can put all your stuff here, or if you using this as a sewing bag, you could definitely put your rotary cutter. You could even do scissors, smaller scissors, and you can also change the sizes to accommodate a bigger bag if that's what you like. So I'm gonna start with some materials. So how to make this. It's not a complicated project. This one here, as you see, I have a pocket here on the outside. My next one that I'm doing here, I'm actually not gonna put the pocket. That's optional. You guys can add the pocket on the outside fabric if you choose to. So let's get started with some materials. So we're gonna start with our straps, and the size of your straps is optional. You can do whatever size you want. What I have here is a 20-inch strap, and what I did is I cut 3 inches of fabric, a strip of 3 inches, and then I took it to the iron. So let's see, I did a 3-inch. Okay, so I went to the iron, I folded it in half, then I folded in half and in half, and then I got some bag strapping and I sewed that on top like that to make my strap. Okay, so you would need about a strip of 3 inches, and a strip of 3 inches from your main fabric should give you the two straps. So I'm going to put these to the side. I already sewed mine. Then for her main bag, we're going to need, for the inside, as you see on this one here, has 2 makeup bags attached to this part here. So what you're going to need, I have the pieces here. So what you're going to need for your main fabric, you're going to need 4 pieces. So I have 2, 3, 4. And my fabric is directional, so you have to be careful how you cut it. Just make sure you cut it that your pattern is, a side up. So but the sizes of this was they're 10 inches this way, 10 from here to here, and here 8.5. Okay, and what I did, I use a stabilizer. You can use fusible fleece or something that fuses, that gives it a little bit more body to your bag. So what I went ahead, I already fused interfacing all the way into my outside fabric. You also wouldn't be needing like 4 to do that. And I also, what I did here on my pieces, as you see, my fabric will be going up this way. I went ahead and I cut 1 inch square in the bottom corners. That's to make my corners down here of my bag, as you see here. So just make sure you don't cut it on the top, because then your pattern is going to be upside down. So you're going to need 4 for those, and also we're going to need 4 lining. Okay, and I also have here 4 lining. The same thing, I cut 1 inch square in the bottom. We're going to need 2 zippers, and I'm using zipper tape, but you can use just a regular zipper. It's not a problem. And this is a 13-inch that I have here. So you're going to need 2 of them. For her outside, you're going to be cutting your main fabric. That's what I used here as my main on the outside here. And this fabric actually is from Tulip Pink. That's the one I used on this one, and this one, if I'm not mistaken, is from Lois and Irene. That's the ones I'm using on this one. And so what I did is I cut for our outside, so 2 pieces. So what we have here, the 2 pieces that I cut is 13 by 12. So I have 13 this direction and 12 this direction. Okay, So 12 by 13, right? So 12 by 13, okay? So 12 goes down and 13 this way. And so you're gonna need 2 of them, front and back. I went ahead and I sewed mine together. Again, because my fabric was directional, I already sewed here, so I flipped my pattern so I have the design going in both directions the same way, so both sides will be side up, the flowers and stuff. So I already sewed a line here, and I went ahead and I marked my seam allowance, 1/2 inch in each side, and I went ahead from my seam allowance in, from here in, and from my sewing line up, I did 2 inches. So 2 inches up and 2 inches from my seam allowances in. So the same thing here. From my seam allowance, 2 inches. From my sewing line, 2 inches. All right? So, and then I have my lining here also. Okay? And I also cut 2 pieces, the same size. So it's going to be 13 by 12. So 13 by 12. Again, you're going to mark your seam allowance. They should match exactly your outside fabric. Whatever you cut there should be exactly the same. All right? So you're going to do exactly the same cuts there. So, and that's the materials you need. Of course, you're going to be needing a magnetic snap. That's the one that I've used here. And everything else, and some strapping. So I also have, and the strapping that I use here is 1 inch strapping. Okay, you're also going to need a piece for each side to attach your straps. Tags are optional. The pocket, as I mentioned, it's optional. I'm actually not going to do it on this one. I'm going to leave it, but you can definitely add a pocket here. You can even add another one there. You can do it with zippers. You can do it with zippers, no zippers. It's up to you, you know. So this one I did it with the pocket. My next one, I'm not going to attach the pocket, just to speed things up. So I already prepared my straps. So my next step is actually doing the makeup bag. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put this one to the side that I already sewed there. I'm going to put that to the side, and I'm going to be working with my lining. Let me just make some room here. And so I don't know if I forgot to mention, also my outside fabric, I also use fusible fleece on my outside, just to make it a little bit thicker so it will look nicer. You can also, if you want, you can quilt it, and will look really nice if you quilt it. Just this one, I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to go ahead. I have my lining here, and I'm going to go get my main piece that I have here for my pockets, and I'm going to pick up 2 of them. Okay. 2 of them. So what I want to do, I want to find my middle here. So I'm going to go ahead here and find my middle. Put my fabrics together and find this middle. Okay. Then I'm going to get this one here. And this, if you notice, I already drew some things on it, right? So what are you going to draw on the inside of your fabric that's going to be your makeup bag? You're going to go here, and from the bottom of your fabric up, you're going to measure 1.5 inch. Okay? So 1.5. I think mine is slightly off. Yeah, mine is slightly off. So from my bottom all the way up, you should end up with 1.5 inch. So from this little corner here up, you should have 1/2 inch, because this is going to be our seam allowance when you close the corner. So you want to really to have 1/2 inch from there. So if it's straight, you should have like that. Yep, like that. So I'm just slightly off a little bit here on this end. You mark it in a hurry and you mess it up sometimes. Okay. So 1.5 up, 1.5 in. Okay. 1.5 in. And from the top to the bottom, we're gonna do 2 inches. Okay, if you notice on this one here, I have this couple things like this that you could put makeup brushes. You can do that. So to do that, you would go here in this middle square here that you have here. You would draw lines. It could be 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, whatever you decide. And when you would go sew it, because we're gonna have to attach this together, when you would sew it, you would only sew those lines and leave the tops open, so you can, when this turns with the zipper here, you can put the things behind it. Okay, on this one I'm actually not going to leave it. So what I'm going to do is I found my middle here and my middle here, and I already have marked my middle. This was 10 inches, so 5 inches in. So I'm going to bring this down, center with the middle. Okay, so I'm gonna center like this. All right, so about a 1/2 inch should be about a 1/2 inch up. So I'm centering it to there, and I'm centering my squares. My square here is a little slightly off. I need to trim that. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually trim a little bit here. So I'm right in the middle, it's around there. Okay, so you're gonna center that and bring that down to there. Even if it's slightly off, it's not a big deal. Okay, so you're gonna center that like that, and we're gonna pin it. So you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna sew here, 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 and here. That big square in the middle, we're gonna sew it. All right. Again, if you were gonna do those for the brushes, you would be leaving. You wouldn't sew this completely. You would just sew down, 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 and do the slots and leave it open to the top. So we're gonna get our other lining, the same thing. We're gonna put it like that. We're gonna get another piece of our main, and we're gonna do the same thing on this side. So we're gonna find our middle. Okay, you're gonna find that middle, and you're gonna go here, and you're gonna bring that down to the middle. Okay, and you can always check if you're more or less in the middle. You can always go here on the side and see what you have here and what you have here. Okay, just to center it better. Okay, I think my fabric here is slightly off. Okay. Alright, just to make sure, what I want is to have this part here and that part here even. Here is not such a big deal, but definitely that should be even. So if I measure here, and I measure here, I should have the same distance. Okay. Then again, you're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. You're gonna sew your 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. So this middle square you're gonna be sewing, because you did the same thing. 1.5 in, 1.5 up, 2 inches down, and then we're gonna sew that part in there. Okay. I have here, that would be 1.5. So this is the one, this one is wrong. It's 1.5, 1.5. That's the one I need to sew. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach these, and I'm gonna show you your next step. So I sew my squares. Again, if you want to leave that open, you definitely can. You would stop here, make sure you're really secure so you end up with a pocket. Or if you want to divide it in two, you can also end up with 2 pockets and do a line in the middle. You can also do that. You can do slots and do it like I did with this one. There's where I have makeup brushes. Or, you know, it's up to you if you want to do that way or not. Okay, so now I have this done here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fold this here, and I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna fold this in, this in, this in, and this in. If you have a safety pin, this is easier, so you don't poke yourself with these pins. Safety pin or a clip that you can clip these together. You're gonna do this to your piece. You're gonna get the other one, you're gonna do exactly the same thing. Move it in, 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 and we're gonna put a piece just together like that. So now we're gonna complete our makeup bags. Okay, so I'm gonna get my lining. So I'm gonna start with this one, I guess, one of them, doesn't matter. So I'm gonna get my zipper. I'm gonna put side down. We'll bring the zipper that to the middle and side down. And I'm gonna get one of the linings. And this is just a standard makeup bag. Okay, you could definitely, if you don't want the corners to end up like this, you can definitely cut your zipper shorter and add fabric instead. But I'm gonna leave mine like that. So I'm gonna go here, and I like sewing on the fusible side because so my lining doesn't stretch, because as my lining doesn't have any interfacing, it has the foot might stretch it, so I want to sew where I have my interfacing here so I don't stretch my lining. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna put pins. If you're not comfortable with zippers, you can go ahead, do a zigzag to your zipper with your fabric and then sew it on top. I use always a zipper foot, and I just put mine together, and I'm just gonna go ahead and sew all 3 layers at one time. Just make sure they're even here when you pin it. Okay, so we're gonna do that to this one. We might as well do the same one to this one. So we're gonna get our other zipper. Okay, our other zipper, and again side down. I'm gonna get another lining and side up. Okay, bring it to this side because I want to sew on this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin it, and I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine and sew it. I'll be right back. So I sew my zipper like that, and I'm gonna need to do a top stitch over here, just making sure that my lining stays back so when I open my zipper doesn't get stuck, and also on that one. So now we're gonna do the other side again. We're gonna keep doing that. We're gonna get our other 2 pieces, another one of these, and zipper down, and another piece of lining. All right, so right side of the lining with right side of the lining, and right side of my fabric with right side of the fabric. So I'm gonna go there, and then I'm gonna go here, even everything out, make sure everything is even here. And again, I want to sew on my side that has my interfacing, so I'm just gonna start from this side, even out my fabrics, go here, put some pins or clips or whatever you have available, and you're gonna go ahead and sew that. Gonna do the same thing to this one. So right side with right side, and lining right side. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew these, and also gonna do the top stitch. I'll be right back. Okay, so I attach my zipper, I top stitch it. So now we're gonna complete our bags. So we have 2 of them. If you're using a regular zipper, make sure you open your zipper because you're gonna need it to turn it inside out. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put, just like when we do a regular makeup bag, I'm gonna put right sides of this together, and right sides have the lining together. Same with this one. And you're gonna go ahead, turn your zipper, like fold your zipper to your lining, and make sure you straighten up so you have a really good fold there. Again, if you're using a regular zipper, this is going to be open, so just fold it together like that and put a pin to hold it in place. Okay, you're going to go ahead and sew here, here. So you're going to be sewing there, this whole side, this bottom here, and in here you're going to mark a little opening to turn it inside out. After you've done that, I think we've done that with several makeup bags. After you sew this here, your 1/2 inch seam allowance and 1/2 seam allowance, we're going to be doing our corners. So we're going to put them together like that, and also sew the 1/2 inch. You're going to do that to all your corners, to both bags. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. So I sewed my bag around. I also sewed all my corners, just making sure they match before I turn it to the right side. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut the excess zipper. I don't need that anymore there. So I'm just gonna trim it. Okay, we left an opening here, but I have a pin here, so I have to be careful when I turn. So if you left your zipper open, mine wasn't open, so I gotta kind of open it a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm okay. I'm gonna try to open a little bit more because I only open a tiny little bit, so I'm good. So now I'm gonna just make sure you don't have any threads there that's you're gonna see it through the lining or anything like that. Okay, so just be careful with that pin. If you have a pin on yours, if you have a safety pin, you don't have to worry about it. If you had a regular pin, just be careful so you don't poke yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead here. I see my pins, I'm just gonna take them out. Alright, that's my lining, that's my bag. The lining, of course, you're going to go ahead and close it. Take it to the sewing machine and close it. I'm just going to leave mine for now. I will close it after. Okay. And you end up with something like this. Alright, this is where you're going to end up. I'm going to turn the other one out too. And we have another one like that. So what are we going to do now? We're going to put these two together. Okay, we flatten them out. And we're going to sew this here. Okay, sew her bottoms. Okay, right across. Okay, after you done that, I'm going to put it here to the side. You're going to end up with something like this. Then we're going to be working with our front. So I have this here. Press it here so you have this good. So you're gonna find the middle here so we can do our straps. So I'm gonna go here and middle, middle, If you have a pocket, this is where you should be attaching it now. I'm not going to do it on this one, so I'm going to leave it. Also, anytime you have any extra interfacing poking, just trim it out, because it just makes it easier when you sew around. So you're following the fabric, now you're interfacing. So I found my middle. I'm gonna go about, see, I did here 2.5 inches down. I'm gonna go 2.5. Let's see, it's gonna be hard to see. 2.5. Do the same to this side. We know her middle, we clip there, so it's our middle, and we clip there, this is our middle. So now you're gonna get your strapping. You're gonna cut 2 pieces the same size as your bag. So and you're gonna put that on top of your lining. Now you're gonna do is your straps. Let's see, 2 inches this way, 2 inches that way. We're gonna put a marking on this middle here. So I'm gonna go 2 inches and 2 inches. This is for my handles. So, and I'm gonna put them about half an inch down on that lining, on that line there. Right touching that line and right touching that line. And about half an inch down. I'll put a pin. This goes on top. Okay, gonna do the same to this side. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and sew those in place. Okay, I'm gonna go do that and also sew this part. So I sew my handles on. Also I attached that part there in the bottom. So now I'm gonna touch handmade tag, sorry about that. And just gonna go here, put it now before I close all this. So my middle is around here. I'm gonna do it under my, around there, because strapping sometimes can come apart. So right here, can fray, that's what I meant. Strapping sometimes frays, so, and I don't want that to fray. I'm also going to touch magnetic snap, and I'm going to do on the lining. So, because this has to close like this. So what I'm going to go here, I'm going to measure about 1 inch. I'm going to find the middle. Put a marking on this side. There. Need to leave enough to do my seam allowance. Alright. I'm gonna go, as you see, I'm putting the middle there, here, but I'm actually going a little lower because I want to make sure I have enough around to sew. And on this case here, you're gonna need some kind of interfacing to put on the back, otherwise the button will be too weak and it can rip. So I'm gonna use actually a little piece of my corner that I cut out. So I'm gonna also gonna mark it. Okay, so it'll stay that way. If you want to round this out, all right, so we're going to put our bag together. So what you're going to do, you're going to push your handles down, put these together like this, handle down, and gonna pin it. So we need to sew this all the way around. Okay, and we're gonna leave an opening. We're gonna leave an opening somewhere around here, okay, in one of the sides to turn it inside out. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and pin, make sure all the straps are in, that everything is in, and sew it all the way around. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew it and bring it and turn it inside out. So make sure you match these here. Okay, and sew all the way around. I'll be right back. So I sewed all the way around, left an opening. It's not a very big opening, so maybe I should left it a slightly bigger, but I'll try to manage. But before we open it, what I need you to do is, you see these corners here, we need to cut them up like that. Okay, those four here. Okay, and then also these corners. Okay, so turn them inside out. Again, leave a little bit bigger opening. I left mine too small, so it's more difficult to turn. All right, so you're gonna go ahead, iron it, do a top stitch all the way around, and your bag will end up like this. On this one here, the reason that I left this here is because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this, after I top stitch, I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and I'm gonna sew this here. You see, I'm gonna bring this over here and I'm gonna sew that. I'm gonna bring that there and I'm gonna sew that there. That over there. We'll put it this way for now. But top stitch first. So you're gonna bring them to match in the middle, like that. See, they end up matching here, like that. So just to create a bottom, so I'll create this bottom here, okay? So, and then when you adjust this, your little makeup bag should fit right in there. If you don't want to sew those, you don't have to. You don't have to sew that in. I just like it better. I like it better sewed in. So I decide that on this one, I'm actually going to sew it in. On this one here, as you see, I actually left it open. I'm actually not even going to bother. So I didn't sew it on this one. I'm going to leave this one like this. Just a different style. Okay, and on this one, I'm actually going to be sewing that there. Okay, and her double makeup bag is done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We'll see you next Saturday for another video. Happy sewing, everyone.